Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. Gonna do a little SEO tonight. Done a lot here in the last week. We've got a bunch of blog posts that we've added to our client sites, and none of them have been optimized, for SEO. So got my SEMrush dashboard open, and take a look at this, see what's going on. Working on EcoMo right now. And as you can see here, we've got some pretty strong traffic, strong keywords. Been a lot of consistent activity with this site here for the last year and a half. We've just kind of been ramping this thing up with tons and tons of content on top of EcoMo growing their business. And we've been able to contribute a lot of blog posts to their content. So we're looking at a 2-year chart here, and it's pretty impressive. Kind of just taking a look at some of the position rankings for their organic keywords. Looks like we've got 410 keywords ranking right now in the top 100. So pretty strong. Internet seems to be a little slow tonight. Bounce over here. There we go. So yeah, looking at positions, things looking pretty good here with EcoMo. And what we've got is we've got a new blog post that was added, and we are going to go into that and optimize it. We're going to designate a meta keyphrase. We're going to do the meta title, the meta description, and all kinds of neat stuff just to make sure that everything is absolutely where it needs to be. You guys can see here, EcoMo sitting number 1 position for all electric landscaping company, electric mowing service, electric lawn care business, electric landscaping company. The list goes on: electric lawn service, electric lawn mowing service, electric lawn care. Starting to move into position 2 here, I see. But overall, this site is certainly the 800-pound gorilla in the electric lawn care space. And let's take a look at the website here. Oops. Get back to it. There we go. I think we're going to get there. Here we go. All right. So pretty legit site. Got a good flow to it. Tons of content. This site has been optimized monthly for the last 2 years. So hence the reason why it ranks so incredibly high amongst the competitors in the industry. Looking at the blog, which is pretty extensive. Kind of part of our initiative with EcoMo and the blog has been to make sure that we got a bunch of content in here for 2 reasons. The first reason, to provide some useful information for clients that are going to the website, kind of the DIY people, and for SEO purposes, being that we've integrated close to 50 to 60 blog posts in this website. You can only imagine that it is chock full of strategic keywords, strategic key phrases. They're helping EcoMo rank much higher compared to any competitors that might be in the electric lawn care space. So here is the most recent blog post that went up today, and this blog post is called "Preparing Your Lawn for Spring." So we have not done any optimization on this particular blog post. So I'm going to take a look at this thing tonight, and we're going to optimize this. You can do this on your own blog post. I would highly recommend that you do, particularly if you're working in WordPress, utilizing a plugin like Yoast or AIO, which is called All-in-One SEO. Those that has the tool. It's basically a plugin, and it will read the page and tell you what you need to be doing to optimize the page to make sure that it indexes properly. And I'm going to walk through what some of those particulars are that you need to be focused on when you're using a plugin for optimizing any page that you might have. So let's let this thing load. So this is the back end of it right here. This is the WordPress editor for Ecomo. And we're looking at the back end of it now. Basically, this is where the content was written, and got the photos in here. None of these have been optimized, so we're going to have some optimization for that as well. A pretty good article. It's informative. We need to put in a couple more internal links and kind of clean up this structure. And what we want to do is we want to go down here to our Yoast plugin. And we're going to take a look at what some of the specific errors are that we have in this. Now, I'll preface this by saying we've been doing this for a long time. So when we write a blog post and we publish a blog post, we're typically going to knock out or take care of 10 of the 20 items that need to be done to make a blog article optimized, just because we've been doing it for so long. So what you will probably notice if you don't have any experience with writing blog posts is when you write a blog post for your website and you install a plugin like Yoast, you will probably see a red sad face right here where it says SEO, or it could be orange. And that's okay. That's typically going to be a starting point for somebody that doesn't do this for a living like we do. There's a few things that I can do to kind of create that orange. And, for instance, that would be removing my focus key phrase. And by doing that, you will see that the SEO right here is now turned red because I don't have a focus key phrase in here. So, that's one of the things that you want to do. And first and foremost, you want to make sure that the focus key phrase corresponds with your content and what. Turn this down just a hair. And what your blog post is about. So, in this case, the blog post is preparing your lawn for spring. So, what we want to do is we want to make sure that our content is optimized for the title of our article. We want consistency with our focus key phrase, with our title of our page, with our meta description. We want all of these little things to be included. So it reads properly, and it indexes properly with Google. So in this case, the title of the article, I'm basically just going to copy the title of the article. It says preparing your lawn for spring. I'm going to go back down here to my plugin. And that's going to be my focus key phrase. I'm going to paste that in here. You will see that if I just put preparing your lawn, it might just be orange. Still green. There are instances that you can, if you don't have a key phrase that's consistent with what's in the article, you're not going to get that green smiley. Ultimately, that's what you want across the board. Now, with that being said, there are other items in here that need to be taken care of. So I want to take a look at my SEO analysis. And as you can see, most of these items we already have optimized. But what I want to do is I kind of want to run down the list here on what those key things are that you want to make sure that you're optimizing for. And we'll go through them one by one. I will show you in the blog itself where these things are. And I will also show you what you need to do to make sure that everything is that green that we're seeing over here on this left-hand side. So first and foremost, key phrase distribution. That's going to be right up here. That is the key phrase that we entered, our focus key phrase, preparing your lawn for spring. And it says, key phrase distribution, have you evenly distributed your focus key phrase throughout the whole text? Yoast Premium will tell you, we do not use Yoast Premium. We're perfectly proficient on using the free version of Yoast. There are some additional benefits, but it's not entirely necessary. If you want to spend some extra money, you absolutely can, but it's not necessary. So basically, you want to make sure that that key phrase, that preparing your lawn for spring, appears 3 to 4 times throughout your article. Preparing your lawn. You'll see when we write these articles, we've got at least 3 instances of preparing your lawn for spring. Here you go. First step in preparing your lawn for spring. That's another instance of the article. So having 3 instances of the key phrase, the focus key phrase in your article is critical. It's certainly something that you want to kind of lead with. All right. Next error, which is actually a red error that we have on here, is outbound links. So currently on this particular blog post, there are no outbound links. And what outbound links are exactly what they say. They are links to other websites that are sending traffic away from your site to somebody else's. These are particularly useful for generating backlinks, and you maybe have a great relationship with a product distributor who carries products, and you want to send some traffic to them in exchange for them sending traffic to you. Backlinks are incredibly helpful. We've got a couple of blog posts on our website about backlinks and how to get them. I think there's also something on our YouTube channel. I think it might just be the blog post that's actually turned into a video on our YouTube channel that talks about the value of backlinks, how to get backlinks. They're incredibly important. These are things that are going to help you build your domain authority, your domain ranking, and you're going to rank higher much faster whenever you have backlinks. For those of you that are probably new into websites and how they work, if you're building your own website, you may start getting emails from companies that are saying, hey, I can get you 50 backlinks for $200 or something like that. The reality of it is the backlinks that these guys are selling are completely worthless with low traffic, low ranking backlinks. The people that are selling this kind of stuff are the same people that actually created the websites. So somebody may create like 50 websites, and then they're trying to sell you a backlink to 50 websites that they created. So while you might think, okay, I'm getting 50 backlinks, the reality of it is you want your backlinks coming from high quality resources, um, newspapers, journals, just high quality stuff. So focus on that. Don't waste your time with low quality backlinks because it's not going to benefit your business. So I'll leave it with that. Now, this particular page right here does not have any outbound links. And I think it's somewhat suitable to contain a backlink, primarily because the article itself is talking about tips for how to get your lawn ready for the spring. There's a section about cleanup. There's a section about dethatching and aeration, talking about the benefits of dethatching, the benefits of aeration. There's another little section here about fertilizing. That's kind of where I think we're going to work this outbound link in on fertilizing. But I do kind of want to look through here. Watering, proper watering. So this may be a really good opportunity to send some traffic to somebody else that might know more about something than what you do. So if you're not the expert on fertilizing, right? We're not experts on fertilizing, but we have some good general knowledge on fertilizing. But this may be a good opportunity to send some traffic to another company. And I'll preface that by saying that I know that Ecomo has a good relationship with Milorganite, which is an all natural fertilizer product. I don't necessarily think it's organic, but it's an all natural product. I know they use Milorganite as one of their products. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send an outbound link to Milorganite. And I'm just going to put some text in here. Look for slow release fertilizer with nitrogen, potassium. And I'm just going to put in here. Basically, I wrote Milorganite is a great example of an all natural fertilizer product. And I'm going to go over here to Milorganite website, probably milorganite.com, which it is. I'm going to copy the link to their homepage. Now, I'm going to go back over here to where I am now. I'm going to underline Milorganite, and I'm going to create a hot link for it. I'm going to paste my URL from Milorganite in here, and now I've added an outbound link. See it right here. I'm going to update my page, and then I'm going to go back down here to my Yoast plugin, and you will now see that the outbound link is no longer an issue. It's now green. Okay. All right. We got link keyphrase. So since we're linking to another page with the words you want this page to link for, don't do that. All right. So we're linking to another page with the same words. All right. Well, that's easy enough. So what I want to do is I've got some internal links in here. I've got my cleanup, the first step in preparing your lawn for spring. So that is actually a link to fall cleanup. Got schedule an appointment. There's Milorganite again. There we go. Organic fertilization. And mowing your lawn. Consult with a professional. So what we're doing is we are overutilizing internal links. Not a bad thing. We are going to get that kind of, it is going to throw up that error for us. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to go in here. I've got scheduled an appointment. And I'm just going to do a little bit of adjustment here. Contact us. All right. Contact us to receive a free quote. And I'm going to link to my contact page. Right. All right. Get that cleaned up. Preparing your lawn for spring. Yeah, we got the contact us. All right, I'm going to go up here to my organic fertilization. And fertilization. I'm going to highlight on that. I'm going to link to my fertilization. Okay. That's okay. All right. Consult with a professional. That's another hot link there. Yep. I got one more link I need to clean up on that. I'll come back to it because I need to think about how I want to reword that so it is not the same link key phrase. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to bounce ahead to our image key phrase. So we've got 12 images on this page, and only one of them has an alt attribute that reflects the topic of the text. Now, the alt attribute is, as it's defined, the alt text for an image. So when you go to Google and you Google, the reason you see certain images come up is because there's an alt text for that image. Okay, so alternative text. And the very first image that's in here is consistent with our key phrase, preparing your lawn for spring. That is exactly what we want. We want to have at least 3 of the images that are on our page consistent with the image key phrase of the blog post. So our next image that we have on here is, here's our alt text right here. It says winter lawn care tips. So this is not going to be consistent with what we need. So we are going to paste preparing your lawn for spring in there. Now you can do alternates as well. I like this key phrase that we have in here, dethatching service, Dallas, Texas. I'm going to let that one be because that might be a key phrase that we want to start ranking for. And we've got aeration service, Dallas. Get another one that we'll probably leave it be because that is a nice little key phrase that we are potentially want to rank for Ecomo. Here we have fertilizing service Dallas. That's the alt key phrase for that. We've got irrigation service Preston Hollow. So that's going to be kind of a hyper local long tail key phrase. So anything more than 3 keywords in a key phrase is referred to as a long tail key phrase. We've got weed control, Dallas, Texas. Okay. And we've got lawn mowing, Highland Park, Dallas. Lawn care services near me. Great phrase. Definitely difficult to rank for. Probably one of the most searched key phrases in the lawn care industry. All electric lawn care. Okay. And we've got Eco Mode Dallas for that image. So we got to throw that image in here one more place. And I'm going to save it with that key phrase in here one more time. And I'm just going to paste that key phrase right here. Preparing your lawn for spring. On that very last image. Now, when you're putting these blog posts together, you do want to try to use images that coordinate with what you're writing about. That stuff is very, very important. When we first started doing this, we were just kind of slapping images in there that were appealing to the eye. They weren't really consistent with the content on the site. It just didn't work. So you definitely want to get some images, take some photos of your work. If you're writing a blog post about a service that you're offering, if it's fertilization and you got this big blog post about fertilization, you're talking about the different kind of fertilizer products you use, the methods at which you use to put them down, when you put them down, think about those kind of things and use images that are going to be consistent with the content that you're talking about. So it's very, very important to do that. Nobody wants to read an article about dethatching and aeration and see pictures of like guys cutting down trees, right? You want to see like a picture that shows somebody dethatching and aerating. So just something to be mindful of. And, we've got an account with Shutterstock. So we do use stock images from Shutterstock. We obviously, it's not cheap to have an account with Shutterstock, but we do get some good images from them. We can be specific when we're in Shutterstock and type in exactly what it is we're looking for. And we've got, 20 or 30 different photos to choose from that are consistent with our content. So you're going to see now, scrolling back down to the Yoast plugin, that's no longer going to be. We've only got 3. All right, so those were the 3 that we added. 12 images on the page. Only 3 have alt attributes that reflect the topic of your text. Add your key phrase or synonyms to the alt tags of more relevant images. Synonyms. You got that? Perfect. I'm just going to drop this thing in here. Drop that key phrase into a few more of our alt images, our alt text. And we're probably going to be fixing that right on up. Perfect. Okay. I do want to come back to this link key phrase. I'm not going to address it right this minute. Because again, one thing that to point out here is we're super smiley on our green smiley face. We've got that one red error, which we will clean up. But I do want to run through the 15 items that we have that are currently in good shape. So we've got the outbound links. We went through that. We sent an outbound link over to Milorganite. We are utilizing our image key phrase in our alt text for the images. It took 4 images for us to rank using our alt text, which was consistent to our image key phrase, our SEO key phrase rather. So we're good there. Images in the page itself. It's very important. You want to use images, and you also want to use more images than you think you want to use. So don't write a 1,400 word blog post and only use 2 images, because um, people get tired of just reading content. People like to look at pictures, and that's just very, very important to do that. I will show you, while we're here, one of the strategies that we use. This one actually has a little bit more images than what we typically use. But what we like to do is, when we're looking at a page, it's important because when you're reading an article, um, like I said, these are really close together. But imagine, if you will, um, when you're scrolling down and you're reading an article, we like to set them up where you start to see the top of the next image before the image above it disappears. Okay. So this is a psychological thing where um, you see how we can just see the bottom of the image up here. And what we always make sure of is, in that scroll, you can start to see the top of the next image in line. And we keep that consistency throughout the read. And what it does is it makes blog posts easier to read, more appealing, because someone is reading and they see this photo and then they start reading, okay? And they're reading this, but they know there's another image coming, okay? Because you can see the next image that's kind of creeping up as they continue to scroll down reading this article. It's incredibly useful. It keeps people's attention to your article. So if you've only got 2 images in here, that means you got 1 image at the top and probably 1 at the bottom, and that's about it. So you want more than that. If you got a 1,400 word article, like this is a 1,400 word article ish, somewhere around there, we're using at least 5 images. So very important that you do that. And if you compare this to how this particular article reads on mobile, it's great. So it looks great. We don't put paragraphs. We don't put, ideally we could put all 3 of these sentences in one paragraph, right? And we could make them look like this, right? Because you would think that like a normal person would like read like that, and they do. But when you're for the web and you're publishing for mobile, you want that spacing. And if you just kind of play with that, you'll see the advantage to separating your sentences out. Now you can put a couple of them together, like here. There's 2 sentences together in this particular paragraph. But as opposed to putting all of this content together into one paragraph and making it, 5 sentences, we generally will not put any more than 2 sentences together before we're breaking out into another line in anything that we write. And the reason why is it's more appealing. It's easier to read. People tend to stay on your blog post longer whenever you have content that has this kind of spacing in it. So keep that in mind. Very important stuff. Good nugget for everybody. All right, the next item that I see here in line is our key phrase in our introduction. So this is very, very, very important. Here's our key phrase: preparing your lawn for spring. It is a non-negotiable. You absolutely need that to appear in the first paragraph of your article. Okay. And what we've done here is, it doesn't have to appear as like 4 consecutive words, right? It doesn't have to say this, preparing your lawn for spring. It doesn't have to say this in, 5 consecutive words in that paragraph. In some cases, it makes sense to read it that way. But what I will say is you absolutely need to include these 5 words in the first paragraph of your article. It is absolutely a non-negotiable. So what we've done is we have structured this blog post where we use the word spring. So we've already cited the one word from our key phrase, the very beginning. Spring is just around the corner. It's time to start thinking about preparing your lawn for the upcoming season. A well-manicured lawn is not only aesthetically pleasing, but also adds to the value of your home. You will see that strategically what we have done is we're using the word spring here, and we're using preparing your lawn for a little bit further here in the first sentence, preparing your lawn for. So preparing your lawn for and spring are in our first paragraph. You have to. You have to. Um, don't even think about not doing it. So very important. That would be the key phrase in the introduction. Well done. Key phrase in the SEO title. So we've got our focus key phrase again, which, as we all know, is preparing your lawn for spring. Now, this is the meta portion of this is important. This is kind of the things that, if you don't want to dig into the article itself, you do have to make sure that like these things are done right. Those are going to be your SEO title, your slug, which is the URL of the page, and then your meta description. Because that's what's going to show up on Google. So when you find your article that you wrote in Google, this is your SEO title, preparing your lawn for spring dash Ecomo Lawn and Landscape LLC. What we like to do here is we use the title of the article and then the name of the company. Couple different schools of thought on this. Some people prefer to put the name of the company first and then the SEO and then the title of the article. We've kind of done some research on this, a little bit of recon, and our research has proven that it's more effective to put the title of the article or the page first and then the name of your company. Or just don't include the name of your company at all, which is certainly an option as well. But you absolutely must have the title of the article, which is consistent with your key phrase. That is also the SEO title of the article itself. And this is what it looks like on Google right here. So when you go to Google, you search up this article, this is what's going to show up. Let's say preparing your lawn for spring dash Ecomo Lawn and Landscape LLC. You can see there's the mobile result, there's the desktop result. Yep. All right, here we go. The slug is the URL of the article itself. So when you look at the article, which you'll see right here, ecomo.com/ preparing your lawn for spring, preparing your lawn for spring. You want the URL to be consistent with the key phrase. This is my key phrase, preparing your lawn for spring. Absolutely want that to be in the SEO title. And I absolutely want that to be the slug or the URL of the article itself. Preparing your lawn for spring. Okay. And then lastly, let me scroll down here. So that was key phrase in the SEO title, the key phrase length. Good job. I want to show you that. Key phrase length is right here. And this is this is 5 words, and 5 words can be difficult to optimize at times. So if you're, and the reason is, you've got to remember that you need to be using this focus key phrase in a 1400 word article. You need to have at least 3 instances of this particular phrase in your article. And the longer your key phrase is, the more difficult it can be to kind of figure out where you're going to put this big long phrase 3 times in an article. So the shorter your key phrase is, the easier it's going to be for you to integrate that key phrase into your content. So, I would keep it around 4 words, your focus key phrase, but use your own judgment. We obviously been doing this for a while, so we can come up with a 6 or 7 word key phrase and get creative about ways to integrate that in the article. But you also need to know that if you're using 7 words in a key phrase, you got to work those 7 words in, 3 times, and that can be rather challenging. So, says it's a good length. Take the word for it. Key phrase length, good job. And key phrase density. This is what I was referring to earlier. This particular focus key phrase was found 6 times in this article. Now, it says this is great, and we absolutely know it is. You can kind of cross the line on this deal. Some people think that you can just kind of go in and put the same key phrase in like 15 times or 20 times in an article. You don't want to do that. It's not good. It's referred to as over optimizing. 6 times is going to be kind of that ideal for 1400 word article. So if you go and you read the article, you will find that there are 6 occasions that the key phrase is going to be within that article. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it may not all be consecutive in the same paragraph. We may have done some split up like we did in that first paragraph, but it's certainly there, and we've got density of 6 times. So that's fantastic for a blog post. Key phrase in the meta description. The meta description is very important. It's one of those things that when somebody goes and they Google something and they see your article, they see the title of the article, you absolutely want your meta description to be compelling and something that's going to make people want to click on it, right? You don't just want to fill it full of keywords, because that's not helpful. Content these days in Google, and Google looks at this, content needs to be readable, and it needs to be natural content. So I would challenge anyone and everyone to look at the article itself and go, and create a meta description that is compelling enough where people are going to look at it and they're going to go, man, I want to read this article, and, that just comes down to your own creative judgment. So in this case, the meta description that we are using does include the focus key phrase. And as you can see, what we have done is, and we do this in many instances, is we will copy generally the first sentence or the second sentence from the first paragraph in the article and use that as our meta description. And the reason we do that is because generally the first sentence or the second sentence is the most compelling in an article, and B, that first or second sentence always has our key phrase in it. Okay? Very, very important. Once again, consistency. You'll see it. Key phrase and meta description. Key phrase or synonym appear in the meta description. Well done. The reason is because we copied the first sentence of our article, which we all know included our focus key phrase, and we're utilizing that as our meta description. I'll read it. Spring is just around the corner. Notice we use spring there. And it's time to start thinking about preparing your lawn for the upcoming season. Can the meta description be a little bit more compelling? Yes. Does it communicate to the reader what the article is going to be about? Absolutely. Does it contain the focus key phrase? Yes. So kind of check the box on that. So that would be my recommendation. Look at your first couple sentences of your article that have your focus key phrase in them. Use one of those sentences as your meta description. You're gold. Okay. Next thing down the list here is previously used key phrase. It says here, you've not used this key phrase before. Very good. That's correct. We haven't. And in some cases, you kind of have to come up with a different key phrase, right? Because we write a lot of content for Ecomo. We publish a lot of content for Ecomo. And somewhere along the line, we're probably going to write another article that's very similar to this article. We just want to make sure that if we're publishing another article that's similar to this content with maybe just a couple tweaks and we're trying to maybe drive home a couple new key phrases, we're using a different key phrase, right? So that's what that means. Previously used key phrase. We've got our key phrase in the slug. Mention that right here. Key phrase in the slug. That's the URL title. It says more than half of your key phrase appears in the slug. That's great. The reason it says more than half is because that's kind of the recommended thing, is that you're only using at minimum half of your focus key phrase in your title of the URL. We've just gotten into the habit of copying our key phrase like this, and our key phrase becomes our slug. Just like that. Key phrase becomes our slug. Just make your key phrase, your focus key phrase, your slug, and you never got to worry about it again. I'm sure there are many reasons why you might want to use something different. But again, you want consistency, you want readability, and you want this thing to index. And the plugin is telling you exactly what it is you need to do. All right. Key phrase in your subheading. So one of your H2 and H3 subheadings reflect the topic of your copy. So we've got another, this is a challenging little area right here, particularly for somebody that might be new. So if you're new to doing blog posts or building websites, and you are using any one of your SEO optimization softwares, or you're doing a crawl on your site and you're trying to get you're wanting to pull the errors on your site, see what the errors are, you will find that if you do not have experience building websites, this is going to be the thing that is going to baffle you, because there is proper heading structure for an article, and Google pays the utmost attention to this. And without the proper structure in your H1 heading, which is your primary heading, through your H2, H3, H5, H6 headings, these things need to be structured, right? So you got a title, right? You got this title, which is going to be like your H1, and then you've got a subtitle. So the title of your article is, in this case, preparing your lawn for spring. Let's call that my H1 heading. And my subtitle, which is going to be like an H2 or H3 subheadings, those need to, in this case, I'll read it, reflects the topic of your copy. So those subheadings need to be consistent with the content that follows the subheading. Right? Tips for, okay, so here we go. This is an H1 heading right here. Show you what I'm talking about. Let's go there. Yeah, H1 heading. So this is an H1 heading. Get over here. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Screwed that up. This is an H1 heading. This is an H2 heading. And what you will see is we're utilizing a portion of our H1 heading in our H2 heading. We like to do this. This is kind of how we build out blog posts. And it makes sense from a readability standpoint because we're basically saying, okay, here's the title of the article. Here's the first paragraph. And now we're kind of recapping the title of the article, but we're utilizing some additional terms, right? In this case, it makes sense. Tips to prepare your lawn for spring. One thing you will notice is the title of the article is preparing your lawn for spring. Down here, we're using prepare. So we're utilizing a synonym in our H2 heading. And then each one of the subsequent headings here, which would be H3's cleanup, right? So there's going to be an H3. Oops. Get over here. And the content that's going to follow that is going to be consistent with the title of cleanup. So there's consistency with the content. There's consistency with the flow of the content. We've got our title, we've got our introduction, we got our subtitle that's kind of breaking everything down and saying, okay, here's the other little sections. These are the things that you need to do. Prepare your lawn for spring. We've got our H3 headings, which are like third level subheadings. And then within that, we've got our content that's going to be relevant to the title itself. This can be a very challenging thing for people to do. It can be absolutely nerve-wracking. But whenever it's structured properly, these are the kind of things that help you rank higher in search engines with your blog posts. And then lastly, we've got another H2. So we've kind of bounced back over here to an H2 heading, see? Because this is actually more important. So H1, H2, this is has the same kind of weight consistency of our first H2 heading, because that's exactly what it is. So it's the weight of your headings. And then we're down here into the conclusion and everything's hunky-dory. That would be our key phrase and our subheading. See it right there? One of your H2, H3 subheadings reflects the topic of your copy. Text length in this particular article is 873 words. Pretty solid length. You know, most of the articles that we write are between that 800 and 1400 words. I would not recommend any less than 600 words in an article. 800 is kind of our company's minimum. Because when we're writing 800 word blog posts, we know it's going to give us 5 to 6 instances of utilizing a key phrase in an article. It's going to give us 5 to 6 images in an article that we're going to be able to utilize. 5 to 6 different alt texts for the images that appear in the article. And it's also going to give us an opportunity to set up some internal links. So those are going to be things like driving links to other services that the company offers, right? And this is a great opportunity to do that. This is also a great opportunity to send links to link to other blog posts that you have. Because again, the idea here is to, first of all, to engage your viewers, right? Your end user, give them a reason to click on the site. That's why you got a compelling title. That's why you've got a compelling meta description. And then once you get them on your site, reading your blog, the idea is to keep them on your site as long as you possibly can. So, very, very important. It's a game. It's a fun game. We enjoy doing it. But there's so much opportunity. For instance, here we've got a link to fertilization. And what this link does is when somebody clicks on it, we can't see because we're in the back end editor right now. But when somebody does click on this, it will take them to the organic fertilization page and their services. So things like this are great. You're basically providing people with the knowledge that they're looking for, yet you're also suggesting services that your company offers. We tried to, in an article of this length, this one right here, I think we said it was 866 words. We're going to want to make sure that we've got 3 internal links at the least. 5 seems to be about what we typically end up coming up with, but 3 at minimum internal links that are driving traffic and keeping traffic on your site. And you could send, say, for instance, if you've got another article, another blog post that you wrote last week or last month or whenever, and it has a more in-depth content about fertilization or irrigation in this instance right here, because I think I was looking at watering. Irrigation, proper watering is crucial for a healthy lawn. Water your lawn deeply, less frequently, and encourage the roots to grow in strong. And this is kind of just a short little 3-sentence thing. This could be a good opportunity if you've got another article that is like a full-on blog post about proper irrigation techniques, when to water, how often to water. And, you got another 800 word article specific to irrigation. This is a good opportunity for you to link to another blog post that you have within here. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you start kind of building out all the blogs, all the blog posts that you have. You want to try and tie these things together as much as you can. Again, the idea is to keep people on your site as long as you possibly can. And the SEO title is SEO title width. Yeah, that's another thing. You'll see that when we are just like right here on the threshold. I mean, this title is about as long as it possibly can be. I think one more word. That's the cool thing about Yoast is you got this green bar indicator right here. If you exceed that green bar, it actually changes color, and you'll know that it's too long. If you're using AIO, which is all-in-one SEO plugin, which is the other one that everybody uses for WordPress, I think that the length is actually a little bit more in AIO, but we use Yoast. It's just kind of our plugin of choice. But check it out. So this thing was like 3 characters longer. It would be red. Really pushing the envelope here on this one. Like I said earlier, we typically don't work with focus key phrases that are. This is kind of long. I mean, this focus key phrase is five keywords long. So, and we're including the name of the company. Now, some things you could probably do if you wanted to shorten it a little bit. You could probably just say Ecomo Lawn and Landscape, which is fine. Should probably keep that. And we're just kind of well within where we need to be on that length. Same thing with your meta description down here. I'm just going to kind of put in some characters so everybody can see that length. And my meta description is going to turn that bar orange down here. We don't want that. Google may see that as you trying to over optimize, trying to stuff, keyword stuffing. And Google doesn't like stuffing. So if you're trying to stuff it, and you might as well forget about it. It's a good chance you probably wasted your time because Google might not even crawl it, or they'll crawl it one time and they won't index it. So, and you don't want that. Okay. So that's it. Everything's gold here. I do have this one lingering issue left here with my link key phrase. I'm actually need to think about my structure for a little bit. For cleaning that up, linking to another page with words that I'm trying to rank for. I'm actually not trying to rank for these words. So I think I'm going to beg to differ with Yoast here on that particular error, but I'm absolutely going to look into it. But in the meantime, we've got this thing optimized. It's looking pretty strong, and there's certainly no reason why we can't start pulling in some rankings here with this. So I want to bounce back over here to Yoast right quick, and then we'll wrap this session up. It's important to kind of take a look at your site. Now we've got a paid version of SEMrush. SEMrush is what we use. There are several different platforms out there for doing search engine optimization, research. Ahrefs, Ahrefs is another software that we use. We like both of SEMrush and Ahrefs. Ubersuggest is also another pretty cool little SEO tool. We did a demo with Ubersuggest and thought it was kind of fun to work with, but SEMrush has kind of been our optimization tool of choice. And the reason being is it allows us to kind of do some competitor comparisons, right? Where we can see what our competitors are ranking for, first and foremost. And we can kind of see what positions they're in. And we can kind of look at, okay, if we've got a competitor that's offering the same service that we have, yet they're ranking so much higher than we are, SEMrush gives us the opportunity to look into that and figure out how and why, right? How is somebody else ranking, so much better than us? And I'll give you an example. So we use the keyword gap tool. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use ecomo.com, and I'm going to plug in one of the, I wouldn't consider them to be a competitor, but actually a friend of ours, owns Quiet Lawn, Mr. Michael Reed. Great guy. He's on our podcast. And we want to look at some of our keyword overlaps. So here's going to be Quiet Lawn right here. Here's Ecomo. And we want to take a look at some of our shared keywords, right? This is a great tool for us to look at and go, okay, I drill down by what some of our shared are. So in the first column right here, and you can compare, as many companies as you want. We do this all the time. So, sometimes we'll plug in 5 or 6 different companies at a time and kind of do keyword discovery. We do this with Lawn Pro Marketing. That's how we discovered tree service businesses. That lawnline.marketing was ranking incredibly high with all the tree service website design, tree service marketing, tree service, you name it, tree service, everything. And, at Lawn Pro Marketing, we build great websites. So there's certainly no reason why we can't have that tree service business too. And we learned quickly through this keyword discovery tool and doing a keyword comparison that nobody else was ranking for trees because, quite frankly, nobody was utilizing content to the level that online marketing was using that content. So we actually went after that. We wrote several blog posts that were optimized, and we're slowly starting to take rank. Not necessarily in comparison to them yet, but we're after them. So when we look at these kind of things here, we got our Ecomo. This is Ecomo's column. These are going to be the key phrases that Ecomo that we were utilizing. These are shared key phrases, right? So this basically means both websites are using all these key phrases in some way or another. If it's on the pages that are written on the site or in their blog posts, whatever the case may be, we know that these are shared keywords for us. So what I like to do is I like to sort by keyword difficulty. So this right here, this KD percentage, and the lower the number the easier it is to rank for. So if you've got a key phrase, like in this case, the very first one, Mo eco-friendly, the keyword difficulty is 3. So what that means is it's very easy to rank using this keyword or this key phrase. So it's very easy. Your chance to start ranking new pages. So if I have just one blog post and I write a blog post that's consistent with Mo eco-friendly, there's a good chance that I will probably be top 10 ranking, like with one article. 3 articles and I will be top 5. 4, 6, 7, 8 articles, I will definitely be top 2, top 3 ranking for this keyword. Now the question is, do I want to rank for that keyword? And there's a few things that you can use to determine whether or not it's actually worth your time. And that is going to be your search volume, which is right here. So this is what we're seeing here, and we're just going to look at this first one for an example. It says 30. What this is this is an average of 30 times per month somebody searches Mo eco-friendly. It's a pretty low number. Now, this particular niche of business doesn't compare to, the gas-powered companies that, people are searching heavy on, on stuff like that, like lawn care near me, right? When you look at lawn care near me as a key phrase, the volume is like 60,000 times per month. But that also means that the keyword difficulty is going to be much higher. So typically this is going to correspond with the low volume searches are going to be the easier things to rank for. Now, if you are a new company and you're looking to establish some authority from a ranking perspective, it's not a bad idea to start looking at some of these easy to rank for keywords and start taking position. And you will notice that like here's EcoMo, and you look at electric lawn mowing service or electric lawn service near me. EcoMo is currently sitting in position 1, and then you've got Quiet Lawn in position 2. So, these two companies are kind of running neck and neck on these key phrases, right? They may bounce back and forth, but they're pretty much together. Both of them are keyword difficulty of 10, but they've only got a search volume of 20. So still a pretty low search volume, little bit harder of a keyword to rank for. So I guess the question is, is this one of the keywords that you want to be tackling? Now, this one here is one that you do want to be tackling. This one's got a relatively easy keyword difficulty of 13, but it's got a search volume of 140. The key phrase is eco lawn care. And I will point out that being that it's a search volume of 140, it's actually it's searched on 7 times more than electric lawn service. Because electric lawn service has a search volume of 20, has a keyword difficulty of 12, but eco lawn care has a search volume of 140 and a keyword difficulty of 13. So these are the kind of keywords that you want to be going for. If you got a low keyword difficulty and you got a high search volume or a higher comparative search volume, these are the kind of things that you want to be writing content for. So if you're building out your site, I know I want to write an article. I'm sure we have one already for EcoMo, hence the reason that we've got a ranking here of position 15. The competitor here, in this case, Quiet Lawn, is in position 56. So this indicates to me that Quiet Lawn probably does not have a lot of content on their website containing this particular key phrase, Eco Lawn Care. EcoMo, however, does, or at least more than what Quiet Lawn has, because they're currently sitting in position 15. So these are the kind of key phrases that you want to be looking for when you're studying in Ahrefs or SEMrush like we use. Relatively easy keyword difficulty, higher search volume. Here's another one. Eco landscaping company near me. Eco landscaping near me. Search volume is a modest 70. Keyword difficulty is only at 10. So pretty easy keyword to rank for there. But I know it is only 70 on the search volume. But compared to another keyword, which is electric lawn mowing service, has the same keyword difficulty of 10, but eco landscaping near me actually has a search volume of 3 times greater than electric lawn mowing service. So this is another example of the kind of things you want to be writing content for. Eco landscaping near me. So before I go out and write another blog post, I want to get an idea of what I want to write about. You can just write about whatever you want if you want to, but if you want to be strategic with the content that you're writing, these are the kind of tools that you look at. These are the kind of things that you can look at that will show you what you need to be writing about. Because ultimately, the reason for writing blog posts is to rank. Okay? You want to share your information. That's very important. But the real reason is you want this content in your website because you want to rank. That's the reason we write blog posts. So these are the kind of things that we're going to be keeping notes of. So when I'm in my software over here, I'm going to go, okay, eco landscaping near me. I got eco lawn care. These are what my next 2 blog posts are going to be about, because those are kind of sub 20 on the search ranking, or on the keyword difficulty rather. We can do some other comparisons here. Eco-friendly lawn mower. You can see Quiet Lawn's ranking a little higher. Good, pretty good search volume. 110. Keyword difficulty is 17. So it's a little bit more difficult than very easy, which is what you kind of see down here. It just says it's easy in this case. So we're kind of getting it into a bit more difficult to rank for stuff. Clearly the home run right here is Eco Lawn Care, being with 140 in the search volume and a keyword difficulty of 13. Definitely that would be the lowest hanging fruit if we want to outrank a competitor, in this case one of our competitors, Quiet Lawn. That would be what we'd want to go after. So it's important to study the competition, see what they're ranking for, what your common shared key phrases are, and this gives you kind of an idea of what you want to be writing more content about. Because ultimately, let's not kid ourselves. You want to be in a higher position than them. Everybody does. My next phrase here that I think is important, and I'm going to go ahead and tag it, is eco-friendly lawnmower. So might want to be writing an article about eco-friendly lawnmowers. I know we have an article, but I don't know that it necessarily has this particular key phrase in it. We've got an article about using electric mowers. There's probably several in Ecomo's blog about electric mowers, but I don't know that there's anything specific to eco-friendly lawnmower. So, and this may be an opportunity to rewrite an existing article that we maybe have. So we can look at an article that we might already have in our database. We've done some discovery here and realized, okay, well, hold on now. 5 times this key phrase is searched on 5 times more than the article that we currently have on the site. Let's go in there and let's rewrite that content, and so we can incorporate the key phrases eco-friendly lawnmower, which will be our new focus key phrase, and we'll utilize it 6 times, as I showed everybody earlier in the article. The key phrase density, using that 6 times. We'll change out some of the alt text for our images for eco-friendly lawnmower. We'll make an adjustment on our URL or our slug, our site title, and we will incorporate eco-friendly lawnmower into our meta description and likely take rank over the competitor that's currently sitting in position 33. So, hope everybody found this helpful tonight. I appreciate everybody coming and visiting. And I'm sorry if I missed any of the chat messages. And we'll see you all again soon.